So, winter's almost here, and heating the shop would be handy. So, the boy used to have this oil heater in his basement to heat his house, but since he knows HVAC stuff, he put in mini splits all over the place and made his house cool to heat and cool, and not use this thing. So I bribed him a bit and talked him out of this guy. I think he was trying to test me with my schematic reading abilities and disconnected a few extra wires, but I think I got them all hooked back up right. We will see if I let the smoke out here in a minute. Handy dandy power cord reel from Harbor actually has a switch on it, so I wired my little 110 plug, which I'm sure is not rated for enough amperage, but whatever, into the power. I even hooked up the ground, which is strange for me, and have it sitting in a bucket of diesel to suck up, and disconnected the control wires there, so it shouldn't try to start. This is just to make sure I'm not gonna let smoke out before even trying to light it, because the second I hook those two up, it'll try to light. So I think I'm ready to turn the little switch on and see what we get. Well, switch is on. Didn't trip a breaker. Nothing scary happened. Not to be a total wuss, but I think I'm gonna turn the switch off and hook those up, and I'll turn it back on. It should only be 24 volts, but you know, should and Sam doing the wiring are two different things. Okay, got those little dudes hooked up, so it should try to light, I think. Well, that was rather anticlimactic. So should try to light and actually trying to light evidently are two entirely different things. I guess I will go back over my stuff and things. A little bit of me's wondering if lid to the box needs to be hooked up. It sure shouldn't, because that would just be ground, so disregard. So yeah, I can't hold phone and poke at stuff, so I'm gonna make sure what's going on here, and we'll be right back. So the boy watching this is no doubt laughing if he sees that. So I started checking power, making sure my extension cord works. So power connected there. I actually don't think there's a fuse anywhere. Maybe that's user added. Oh yeah, dotted lines means that. Anyway, trace the power coming down, goes through the door switch. Oh yeah, there's a door switch. So anyway, we'll put the door back on. That's way more fun. There's a little tiny bit of diesel in the pump, but it lit off pretty quick. One cycle, no worky. Make sure that's, well, I guess you guys can look easier than I can. It sure looks to me like it's under the diesel. Oh, you know it'd be funny as if it were like stuck on the bottom. I don't think it's that long though. We're gonna say that's under the diesel and everything's fine. And find our crescent wrench that's in my back pocket. Make sure that is tight and not leaking air. Reset that little dude and close the door again. thinks I'm gonna do something you probably shouldn't do, but you know, that's how we roll. So, reset, sir. Lockout time 35 seconds. Manually, pull that down. No, I don't need manually. Oh, there it goes. That's interesting. Think that's normal? Oh, no? Huh. So, the thing I'm gonna do that's probably not smart, but this is just a pump. So, how do you make sure a pump's working? You do something like this, and we'll probably go get some blue towels. So, I didn't say earlier that all of this is making sure furnace works before I take it all apart. I got a kit from CK Burners, which is also a reason I don't mind doing something stupid like that. I mean, minus the fact that I'm gonna blow diesel all over if it works. Kit from CK Burners that makes it to where it will burn used oil, like engine oil, waste oil. So the goal is gonna be to burn off, how am I gonna, just take my foot off the switch, the door switch. So what was I saying? Used oil, burn, I've probably got a couple 100 gallons of used oil, and I'm sure there's at least a couple more oil changes in my future. Maybe that will keep it from shooting all over. I'm gonna have a mess to clean up, I realize, but we'll see if Mr. Pump's pumping or if it's a lighting issue. Prepare for potential mess. I don't have anything intelligent to say about that. Aside from sucking air, I don't know what would possibly keep that from pumping. It has to be. I mean, that is under there. And I made sure that was tight. So, we're gonna try again. Set it up to do what's called a siphon nozzle. So air blows, blower guy blows air across the nozzle and it sucks fuel in. Or you take this pump off and put not a servo, but a stepper motor on it, meaning it's very controlled magic special signal that turns it at a very specific RPM, like you can adjust it 1 RPM at a time. And so I got that to use on the kit. And they say it's a gear pump, and you take this pressure thing out, pressure regulator, and tell it to just always go and use the stepper motor to control the pressure. A lot of words to say. I'm gonna have to pull that off anyway. I wanted to make sure this thing worked before I start messing with it, so I know if it's me making a mess or something else. I wonder if that's a bleeder valve like it looks like. Which is funny that I took that line off and this is a bleeder. Looks just like a break bleeding nipple. I don't believe that it is open, so that's not leaking air. I'm thinking I'll test all those things, not make you guys watch all this dumbness. And I'll bring it back if I end up having to pull it off and monkey with seeing if there's something wrong with the pump. But again, gear pump, it should just sneak and work. There's a potential, there's a coupling that sits between these, I'm pretty sure. mostly because that site had a replacement coupling. That could be dorked. Not to where this motor's not turning that pump. That would be curious. So yeah, that might be coming off here soon. I'll bring it back if we do that. Okay, 2 little bitty screws and so little connector in there. I made sure it spins when it's supposed to. And this guy is free and spins. He doesn't feel super awesome. I guess I should have seen which way it's supposed to spin. That way he feels like crap. That way he's mostly okay. No, there's cruddy spots there too. So this will be interesting, pulling this little pump apart. But that is probably not tonight. Gonna go, oops. Well, it has diesel in it. Probably gonna go eat some dinner and we'll pick it up tomorrow. And we'll set this in this for the night. Alright, got me a very small corner of the bench that's clean here. We're gonna pop off the back cover here to see what we can see. Got the back cover off, and maybe it's rust? No, it's goo. That is not awesome. A little bit of a bummer that I'll either need to make a gasket or find somebody who sells one. I mean, that's expected when you take something with a gasket off, that the gasket's gonna be no bueno afterwards. So it looks like just a little screen, which maybe it's supposed to keep the goo on the inside. We'll see which side of the screen's dirty. I have a feeling it's both sides. Methinks outside might be where it's supposed to be dirty. I don't know. Inside is definitely grungy too, though. Maybe hopefully there's quick, easy screen. Maybe screen and gasket kit. That will be a later Googling. Holy moly. Look at the grunge down there. Yeah, I hope it didn't tear up the pump. I might have to go look at the metering pump instruction stuff. Or I'm quite tempted to pull off those things, because again, there should just be like a gear pump, like a car's oil pump, is my understanding of what I remembered when I read the instructions in there, and those mostly shouldn't be able to get gummed up not working. So we'll see. Sitting here thinking if that's input, and where's the output? Sorry, that's output. Input is suction holes here. Just trying to think if I turn it, if I'd be able to feel a suck or a blow. Yeah, that just doesn't feel good. Okay, I think I'm gonna take those off. We'll see what's in there. We'll come back when I see what's. Okay. Little back plates off. Spring of a thing. No clue its purpose. Can't tell if that's supposed to be a screw or if that's just goop. That would be interesting if it's goop and that's like the intake of the pump. This thing. We'll be curious if there's such thing as a replacement, because probably anymore the whole world being replace large chunks don't fix stuff, that would worry me somewhat. If I can, it looks like I didn't tear it up. Oh, well, that's interesting. Might not have even needed to take that off. But you see all that goop. That's less than awesome. But oh, There's gear guy. I don't know if you guys can see. Oop, out of focus. There's crud everywhere in there. That does feel better now. Now that it's not turning the gear pump. It's gotta be just so you can replace that seal, which right now I don't need to replace. Let's hope it stays that way. I think I will probably go ahead and pull that out. Trying to think if I'm going to regret this or not. No, that looks fine. And looks like it's just a nice little straight shaft, nothing fancy. So I can rinse that out. I'm tempted to pull all these plugs, probably sand or something that a little bit to get this junk out of here. So I think that's probably what's next, is I will pull all these plugs. Like I said, the kit that I'm getting, I wonder if anyway, I wonder if I even want to put it back together or just wait till I get the kit and put the plug in that they send and some other stuff. Yeah, like I said, I really wanted to test and make sure it works on diesel before modifying it. Well, it didn't work on diesel because of this. But the whole whether or not to put it back together stock to try it, I don't think I'm gonna. I might regret it, but we will find out together. Okay, whole bunch of cleaning. I will show you hopefully a clean piece here shortly. So in the category of things I probably should leave well enough alone with, I've got everything torn apart, and that little plastic plug right there was covering that guy. It reeks to me of some sort of mixture screw or something, but in order to blow cleaner and compressed air through all the channels and get this as spotless as I can to give the poor little old pump the best chance of working, I feel like I need to take that out. So I'm gonna count the turns, how many turns in, and take it out, assuming it acts like a mixture screw, and we'll go from there. Okay, quick little update. That stuff came out of there. I turned it in 5 or 6 turns and it not disappeared, but went way down in there, and I chickened out at trying to bottom it out, not knowing where things would end up. So, whoops, but hopefully the pump rebuilding instructions have info on that. And if not, I've read that the dude who runs the thing is super awesome about answering all kinds of random crap. So I hopefully won't be testing that, but I might. Okay, back to cleaning. I used file and got that all super smooth. So I think what I mentioned before of squirting cleaner, carb cleaner through all this, blow it out with air, and then start cleaning parts and putting them back on. Okay, quick little update. Everybody is as clean as I can possibly get them. They should look ridiculously clean compared to what they were. Gonna leave that stuff till I see if there's such thing as replacement screen. But try to slap this back together and go from there. I'll show you hopefully bright shiny parts put together. Haven't decided what kind of grease or oil or something to put in the pump to try to pre-lube it a little bit and probably the shaft in there. Just for whenever it starts up. I guess oil would be fine. So I will do that and we'll spin it, come back when it's back together and spin the little shaft and see if it feels better, hopefully. All right, little guy is all all put back together. Getting that stack of stuff and the gasket lined up was a little bit obnoxious. On the bright side, the bolts were keyed, or the spacing is to where it can only go on one way, so that was a big plus. Of course, now it's not going to make the noise. Hope you can hear that. It's kind of cool. Little pump geary noises. So I have high hopes of it working. Just to keep things clean, I'm going to clean the back of that cover, leave the screen and stuff out, and still haven't searched about finding a screen. Hopefully I can just get one off Amazon, if there's such a thing. I guess if not, I'll make a gasket and we'll put a good filter on the inlet and hope we don't need a screen. But that's for later. I'm gonna clean that, button up the back so that inside of the pump stays clean theoretically, and I think be done probably for now. Okay, last quick little update. Threw the cover on after it's all shiny and pretty and clean. Sure enough, Amazon has a screen and a gasket. It looked like about 10 bucks, or for 20 bucks, they have the screen, the gasket, the seal, and that one little gasket that I was talking about between the pump. So it seems silly not to essentially have all new seals and everything, because potentially that guy could suck air and the one between the pump could get air in it and cause it not to work as well as it could. So they'll be here Saturday, and the kit stuff will be here Monday. So maybe Saturday, Sunday, Monday, somewhere in there, I'll do the modifications to the pump that are supposed to be done, and we won't worry about firing it up on diesel. We'll just go for it and see what we get. That's the current plan. Might not be smart, but that's what we're doing. Because basically, how far to adjust the flame on that without, I guess I could measure or something. Anyway, a way to see how far it shoots out into the, what's that called? Firebox? Anyway, the big metal part in there. I don't want to overheat that and crack it and do all kinds of bad stuff there. If I'm honest, a little bit of me is wondering about pulling the pump, that whole unit off, and putting it in something else that would take some more heat. The only catch or difference or concern, that's the word, is making sure I can actually extract the heat out of it. Oh, not up there. Because this guy, like even on the chimney, those little bars down there are gathering heat off of it. So it knows how to pull heat out of itself pretty well, versus just blasting into a big steel box might not do as well. So there's that concern. But that's all for now, and I'll bring you back probably when we get the CK burners kit and we pull that thing out. That's all for now.